What up? Josh Rubin from East West Healing and Performance. Today, we're going to talk about gelatin. It's been buzzing all over the internet. It's been buzzing all over YouTube. And I have to say, it's probably most likely because of Ray Peat and his research. But you have all these people wondering about gelatin. Why should I take it? What is it? Why is it powdered? What do I do with it? Well, the bottom line is, today I'm going to give you some of the basics of gelatin and how to use it. The interesting thing about gelatin, you saw at the beginning and went through a website. That's where you can get it, GreatLakesGelatin.com. I'll kind of go over that a little bit. But what is gelatin? Gelatin is the cooked form of collagen, and it's basically about 50% protein from the animals, from the bones, the skin, the hoofs, the horns, ligaments, things like that. That's the part of the animal that we should be eating, and it's the part of the animal that we're not eating, unless you're already doing gelatin. Gelatin contains about 35% glycine, and I'll talk about that. 11% alanine, 12% proline, and hydroxyproline. And the interesting thing is, these proteins are anti-inflammatory, and gelatin does not contain tryptophan, which is in most muscle meats, which is inflammatory, and I'll talk about that in excess. A great thing about gelatin for all you people out there, because another big thing in our society is gluten. It's like a fad. It's like a pocketbook, a Prada pocketbook. Everyone doesn't want to eat gluten. Well, good thing about gelatin is it does not contain gluten. Most of the conventional meats out there do contain gluten because they're feeding these animals, besides sawdust, dead animals, and feces, they're feeding them gluten-containing grains. So if you're gluten intolerant, you might not be eating the grains or the sauces, but if you're eating conventional meats, you are what you eat. So if they ate conventional gluten grains, that's what you're getting. You're not really getting a protein, you're getting a starch. Another good thing about gelatin, it's another source of protein, even for vegetarians, not vegans because they're hopeless. Sorry, but that's how it goes. But it's another source of protein. So these vegetarians that eat fish and eggs, it's a great source of protein because our bodies need this. So the thing about gelatin, or the body I should say, is when our body's stressed, or we're not getting enough glucose in the body, it's depleted because that's our primary source of energy, the body actually catabolizes its own protein, its muscle tissue, to basically promote glucose. Well, actually what it does is, when it's breaking it down, tryptophan is actually released in large quantities during the stress, which is highly inflammatory. It suppresses the thyroid. It is very toxic, and at the same time, it's excitatory to every system in the body. Now, when we're growing early on in age, let's say a child, a baby, we do need good amounts of protein in muscle meats. Of course, organic, grass-fed, because we need this to grow. That's the bottom line. But over time, as we age, we can't synthesize this. We actually don't need as much as we did when we were a child. And the problem with this is, if you're eating large amounts of protein, and I see this with practitioners, as well as the lay people, because we think carbohydrates are bad, so people go high protein, high fat, and very low carbs. That's very dangerous. The main reason, there's many, is it's too much tryptophan in the body. And this too much tryptophan will cause inflammation systemically in the body, especially in the muscles and the joints. It actually will downregulate the thyroid. That's one of the main things we're seeing nowadays, hypothyroidism. It can suppress the immune system in excess. And we're seeing this, autoimmune diseases. It causes leakiness in the vascular system, varicose veins, and in the GI system, leaky gut syndrome. It can cause vasoconstriction of certain blood vessels, leading to hypertension. And it decreases mitochondrial respiration. What does that mean? It reduces ATP production in the body, which can lead to fatigue, lack of energy. Most common complaint that when we work with people. As well, the excess of muscle meats in the body promotes the production of histamine. Histamine is an inflammatory marker that will basically do the same as what I explained. But at the same time, it affects respiration. It actually causes hyperventilation in people. Not asthma. Most people with asthma have hyperventilation. And it's because histamine will actually cause constriction or vasoconstriction in certain parts of the lungs, the bronchioles, which can lead to respiratory issues. So you can see the downfalls of eating too much muscle meat. Now, one of the things that's in gelatin that's great is glycine. Glycine has been shown to downregulate the toxic effects of melatonin. Melatonin can cause vasoconstriction, shrinkage of genital tissues, increased estrogen production, which can lead to cancers, stiff joints, swelling in the tissues. on and on and on. Infertility. It can decrease progesterone production, which can lead to increased infertility, PMS, all these things. But glycine is actually inhibitory to most of what we call these pro-inflammatory cytokines and prostaglandins and things like that cause inflammation. So glycine is actually an anti-inflammatory. So if you're eating a lot of muscle meats, or you're stressed, you're breaking down your proteins, you have this constant increase of estrogen in the body from the muscle meats. The estrogen will actually cause what's called lipolysis. Big word, love them, but the bottom line is what this means is it causes the release of fatty acids from stored fat in the tissues. It actually directs the conversion of glucose to fat in the liver. That basically equates to weight gain and chronic stress, and it can actually perpetuate the stress cycle, inflammation, downregulate the immune system, downregulate thyroid, on and on and on. The great thing about glycine is it actually inhibits lipolysis. It actually causes it actually will inhibit the lipolysis to actually help with insulin resistance. It's amazing what the glycine in the collagen alone itself can do. As well, and this is kind of what I just said, gelatin has been shown, especially the glycine, to facilitate the action of insulin in lowering blood sugar to alleviate diabetes. So there's all these great things about gelatin, and there's all these dangers of eating muscle meats. Now I'm not saying, don't eat muscle meats. What I'm saying is what you should be doing is eating a moderate amount of muscle meat. Of course, eating the right vegetables. That's a whole nother YouTube. But then supplementing the moderate amounts of protein with your gelatin. Now, what are some of the uses of gelatin? It can be used to reduce hyperglycemia, alleviate diabetes, help with strokes, seizures, and stuff like that. It could be used to reduce estrogen production in the body. It's a natural anti-inflammatory to the entire body. It aids in the health of nails, skin, hair, tendons, joints, things like that. It's a great anti-inflammatory for the gut. It helps promote regularity in the gut. And it's a great source of anti-inflammatory proteins for the body to stimulate thyroid production, stimulate the immune system, and every other system in the body. It actually can prevent digestive diseases, arthritis, diabetes, tumors, insomnia, chronic inflammation, on and on and on. And at the same time, if you go back to what I said, it can actually help with weight loss because it can reduce the amount of estrogen production in the body. It can reduce the puffiness in the system, reduce the stress, reduce the hormones that are being released because of the stress, which are all fat storing, so it can actually help with weight loss. So there's so many benefits of using gelatin. Now, there's two different kinds you can get from Great Lakes gelatin. There's hydrolyzed and non-hydrolyzed. The hydrolyzed is basically slightly processed. The bottom line is it's the green bottle. It can actually dissolve in cold and hot water. The non-hydrolyzed is not processed, and it only dissolves in hot water. That's the only difference. So either one, in my opinion, is great, as long as you're taking it in. How much do you take in? Well, you want to start off slow, anywhere from 2 to 6 tablespoons a day. Usually what I tell people to do is start with 2 tablespoons a day and work their way up to 6 tablespoons. Some people only get up to 4. What can you use it in? You can put it in smoothies. You can put it in mousses. You can put it in, good sources of ice cream, homemade ice cream, custards, gravy, soups, sauces. You can put it in homemade candy such as marshmallows using the gelatin. So there's so many great uses, but I would say the most common we have people do is put it in broths even, and use it as a snack with the broth throughout the day. So I know it's a lot to take in, but hopefully you understand the benefits of using gelatin, the downfalls of having too much protein in your diet from muscle meats, and what it can cause, digestive issues, inflammation, weight gain, diabetes, and how gelatin can actually help to facilitate health, healing, and weight loss. Thanks for tuning in. I know I talk fast, but that's who I am and what I do. Peace.